Your time starts now. Chefs, today you'll be working with Pacific cod, red bell peppers, yellow Spanish rice, and butterscotch pudding.
So I was fully ready to get a revenge basket for my revenge basket, but these ingredients are all so simple.
Chefs, your time starts now.
Once I see the fish, I immediately think fish cakes. Once I saw rice in the basket, I knew that would take the longest to cook, and I knew that was the first thing that I needed to start.
So Chef Susan's got a variety of ingredients here today. They're not difficult in their own right, but they don't really go together, I would say. She's grabbed the yellow rice first. It's actually yellow because of the saffron that's added to it. It's a Spanish variety of the yellow rice, and it does include a bit of vegetables and spices already.
I heard the judge talking in the background that there was saffron in it, and I personally hate saffron. So I knew I had to wash off all that seasoning in order to impose my own flavors into this rice.
I think it's safe to assume that she's going to be pivoting to a different flavor profile than they intended.
Once I had my rice cooking, I can finally start tackling the other ingredients. I've never, ever, ever had butterscotch pudding. I've never had pudding, period. I know this tartar sauce recipe that needs sugar in it, so I figured this is the perfect substitute for the sugar.
The butterscotch flavor in this pudding, it's not too strong, it's not too specific, but it is extremely sweet. More than anything, the challenge is going to be in utilizing that texture, that gelatinous, silky pudding texture.
I knew we had frozen corn, we also had red onions. So I began cutting everything up and dicing them really fine to start sauteing and cooking it down to add to the fish cake.
It looks like Chef Susan has fresh corn. She's got the bell peppers. Could she be making some sort of a succotash, perhaps? 20 minutes left, chefs. 1/3 of your time is now complete. The red bell pepper, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's very ripe, it's very sweet. There's not much flavor. It's almost pure texture is what you're getting. And the same can almost be said about the Pacific cod. It's a firm fish, it's a flaky fish, it's a mild fish though. There's not much flavor there. If Chef Susan wants this to taste like anything at all, she's gonna have to bring it herself. It looks like she's just grabbed both the mayo and the pickles. I think she might be using the pickle brine with the mayo to make some sort of aioli. Tartar sauce? She's gonna make a tartar sauce. That's what it is. I totally guessed that on my own without her help.
I grabbed the mayo and the dill pickle and I start making my tartar sauce.
It looks like Chef Susan's just added her butterscotch pudding into her mayo and relish tartar sauce. I guess it had to go somewhere. Chefs, 15 minutes left.
So the judges call 15 minutes and I start to panic a little. So I finally take the fish out of the packaging and it's still a little bit frozen. So I run it through some cold water. I thought I could just peel it and shred it with my hands. But that clearly did not work. So then I thought maybe I can just finally chop it with a knife, and that definitely did not work either. And then I started to panic. But in my panic, I finally realized that most people would use a food processor.
Chef Susan has got the food processor down. She's slicing her Pacific cod into strips and she's taking down the toasted breadcrumbs. It looks like she might be making us a fish cake. I'm getting a little concerned that her main protein is not being cooked quite yet, and there's about 8 minutes left to go. You have to leave time for plating and presentation.
I hear the judges worried about time, but I've watched a lot of Chopped episodes, and they always cook it down to the wire. At first I was afraid that there was too much moisture, so I was very happy that the consistency turned out perfect.
"5 minutes, chefs. Get it on the plate." Chef Susan, she's just started cooking her fish cakes. Her rice, it looks a little moist still. She seems to still be tinkering with it. She's got her sauce in the fridge, nothing on the plate yet. I'm getting a bit anxious over here in the judging booth.
There's 3 minutes left. I flip my fish cakes over and they are perfect. And since I know the judge wants everything to be done for him, I put the sauce on the bottom so that he'll get the fish cake and the tartar sauce.
50 seconds, chefs.
I want to let the fish cake stay in the pan for as long as possible.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up, chefs. Hands up.
That was a close round, but I think all my flavors are there and I think this is gonna be delicious. I think this is gonna get me the win. Today I made for you a Pacific cod fish cake with red bell peppers and corn on top of a bed of tartar sauce with butterscotch pudding. On the side I have for you a white truffle rice. Please enjoy.
What flavorings did you add to the rice?
So I didn't want the Spanish flavors to come through in the rice. I rinsed off all the seasonings and then I just added white truffle oil, salt and pepper.
I was a little worried you weren't going to get those fish cakes cooked all the way through, but did somehow manage to finish it in the, 6 minutes? I don't taste the butterscotch in the tartar sauce, thankfully, but the sugar does add a nice balance. On its own, it is very acidic, but it does pair very nicely with the fish cakes. Quite mild, they're quite sweet with all the corn and the bell pepper. It is a nice balance when you do have the tartar sauce with it. I do wish you had cut the pickles a little finer. And when I say a little, I mean a lot. These are sizable chunks of pickles in there, and I do find pickles distasteful. I think this pairs beautifully together, and I love the sear. I love the taste of the fish cakes with the tartar sauce. Where I think you stumbled a little bit is with this rice. If there is salt in here, I do not taste it. I get plain rice. There is an oily texture to it. There is a faint hint of truffle. None of it's quite welcome. I think with some salt and pepper, maybe some fresh vegetables, some fresh herbs, the whole plate could have benefited from some fresh herbs. It's very one note color-wise. Really, the only green thing on the plate is these rehydrated pepper flakes from the box mix. I'm ready to make my judgment. For presentation, I did see you attempted that nice sauce smear, and I respect you for that. I do like that you filled out the plate. I like the way everything on the plate looked. I only wish there was some fresh component, something green. There's the yellow from the corn and there's the red from the bell pepper. I think the judge really needs to branch out in his color palette. So for presentation, I give you a 4 out of 5. For taste is where I think you really pulled ahead. If not for the rice and just a little bit of salt, I think would have gone a long way here. And the large chunks of pickles, I think you could have had a perfect score. But for today, the fish cakes are beautiful. The tartar sauce is beautiful. It's everything I want. 4 out of 5. Where I think you've really shown, though, is creativity. This is a tough basket. That was quite a curveball we gave you there with the butterscotch pudding. That is a tough flavor to incorporate, and it is a tough ingredient to deal with. And this ends up being a dish that you wouldn't have expected that it was made with just a grab bag of random, unrelated ingredients. So for creativity, I give you 5 out of 5 points. So, Chef Susan, that is the victory.